Miss Nadine, and talk to me about your students. You have two students in Palm Beach County.
Yes, I have a 7-year-old that is going into second grade, and I have a 4-year-old that just began VPK this past Monday.
Oh, awesome. Now, are you from? As we spoke earlier, you're aware that right now Palm Beach County, they are considering some revisions to their back to school plan, specifically having to do with the phasing in of returning back to school. And now I believe that the superintendent wants to get the board's decision on whether or not if students should return all at once, as opposed to phases. As a parent, with two kids or in the public school system here in Palm Beach County, what's your reaction to that?
I believe that that's as challenging as that may be, it is necessary because all grades are important, and to decide which grades can go back or not, all students should be able to start and at the same time. And at some point, they would have all been there at the same time. So all this time, let's figure out how to do that safely. I'm all for that because the kids need to be back in brick and mortar. They need to be socialized. They need to have the structure. They need to gain the emotional and social experiences that the school setting can provide.
So it's safe to say you believe that parents should have a choice, should have an option at least.
Absolutely. Parents should have the choice. They should have the choice. Everybody should have that choice, but their right is to have brick and mortar, and they should have that choice if not comfortable for whatever reason to opt out. And there should be a way to do that. As a parent, I feel it's really important. My child has an IEP. There's many children out there with variety of needs, and they should have that ability to be in school with the services and the education that they need to get. And it should happen all at the same time, because not one age group or grade is more important than the other. They're all important. They're all stepping stones, to developing all aspects of their life, socially, academically, emotionally. Absolutely.
But at the same time, though, a lot of the other side of the equation is, you have many teachers and some parents, there are health concerns there. With this COVID-19 pandemic, some believe that, we should wait until cases go down and whatnot. From a safety standpoint, do you have any concerns there for this, the health and well-being of your child going back to school?
I do. I think that, of course, safety needs to be the priority. I believe that getting everybody back into school can be done in a safe manner. This summer, there's been many camps and organizations that I know my children have been a part of, and they did it in a safe manner, and they followed the guidelines, and they were superb in their leadership in executing this. And if the schools can utilize them as a resource or mimic these processes and ways safely, I think that it can provide comfort for when they all do return to school. I believe that, yes, safety is important, but I think in my heart that there is a way to accomplish being safe and providing the options to the families, and that's key. I think everybody has a different comfort level, and I think that should be up to the parents to decide.
What would you say is your main basis for taking this stance on students have a choice? Is it due to the fact that is it a struggle to try and juggle, your job and virtual learning, your student at the same time? Is that something?
It comes from many things. It comes from, yes, I have a home with 2 working parents, and I have like I said, a 4-year-old and a 7-year-old. And I think that what this stems from is when my daughters had gone to camp, within 1 week's notice, I noticed a huge difference in the socialization. My daughter, for the whole time that she was home, she kind of became clingy. She didn't even talk as much. She was yearning for socialization. And the minute she got that in a safe way, she just changed. And I think where this comes from for me personally is that the kids need to be able to have that structure, have that socialization, they're yearning for that. And I think that when you're in a home with parents that are stressed, it doesn't help the situation. It is a huge juggling act. We had to alternate and days and nights and weekends, and kids sense that, and all kids want, and so do parents at this point, is stability and safety and reassurance that we can accomplish that, we can get that. And I think that's driving it. The kids need to have that emotional and socialization and that structure, and that's really what's driving it. Yes, I'm concerned about their safety, but I think that like my child the other day said, I said, why didn't you take off your mask? She's like, I didn't know I had it on. The kids are resilient. We cannot underestimate them. And I believe that they will follow, and we will support them. And, and I believe that they will be safe, and I have trust in that.
Now, the parameters of the plan pretty much called for returning, in phases. Say, for instance, when it's safe to do so. Essentially, when we enter phase two, are you comfortable right now with your child, returning to now under these conditions where we are right now? We're still in phase one. Are you in
Yeah.
favor of your child returning to school like right now?
Yes, I would send my kids yesterday. I truly am in favor of it. For me personally, if I wasn't, I wouldn't have sent my kids to a summer camp. I think that it was for our family, it really changed the dynamics. I've seen so much growth over the summer. I've seen so much development. We were able to get our jobs done. We were able to feel a relief of not having to juggle everything. So yes, I would be comfortable. The numbers are going down. I believe, like anything else, this virus will will run its course, and we don't know how long that is. But I do believe that the stability and structure that the schools and the kids being in school could provide is far more advanced, has more benefits than the kids learning from home or not being socialized, with their peers.
Yeah. What would you say? Going back to what you kind of talked up on it, you touched up on it earlier. What do you see as the negative impact when it comes to just having the option of virtual learning? What would you say as a parent? Are the negative impacts?
Oh gosh, from what I've seen, it was very difficult for my child to be online for a lengthy period of time. It was confusing because the screen that they know is to watch TV or, perhaps do an online program, but not for this lengthy period of time. It was a battle every day. You need to do this, you need to do this. And I felt like I'm the mom, I'm the parent. I want to have a good, strong relationship. And it was just, I didn't want it to impact my relationship with my child. It was a lot of time. I'm bored. I want to eat. I want to watch more TV. And it just was a challenge. I think the negative impacts, I was speaking with a family member in our community, and, her child hasn't socialized or been around a friend. And there's a lot of depression. There's a lot of boredom. There's a lot of anxiety. They're turning to YouTube and iPads and all this stuff, which, yes, there's benefits to it, but at the same point, it's unhealthy at some point. And I understand some people have no choices, but I do feel there's more negative impact from the kids just staying home. My child had a hard time distinguishing the difference between learning from home and being at home. It was very hard to separate the two. It was, towards the end, she didn't even want to get dressed. And more importantly, my daughter has an IEP. And so it was very challenging because, I feel she was making such progress, and then all of a sudden it stopped. And while her school did a phenomenal job with trying the best they could under the circumstances, I can't imagine what it's like for parents to be in the same situation with a child that has more, a lot of needs that they just can't handle while working full time. That was huge.
Right. We were discussing with a few of my colleagues at the initial onset of this, I believe Palm Beach County Schools, they did a survey. And I think the results from the survey was that there were 54% of parents who were actually in favor of sending their child back to school. Uh,
Hmm.
do you feel that those results from those surveys just kind of got swept under the rug? It was ignored?
Um, I'd like to think it was not. I'd like to think it was not ignored. I think there was a different agenda at the time that was happening, a different plan in place. I think that it wasn't supporting probably what other people had in mind. I'm not, it changes every day. The landscape changes every
Right.
day. So, and I know I've changed every day. I mean, some days I'm so frustrated and some days I'm so supportive of it. And I think that it's going to change.
Yeah.
I,
So were you, so just go back, if we can, when the school board, when they issued this plan and it was said to be virtual only, you know, what was your thought? Was that were you in favor of the plan?
I was personally very frustrated.
Mhm.
I felt there was a lot of time where they knew that there's this potential that we would have to eventually go back, and all of the planning was directed towards being done virtually. Now, not that that is a bad thing, because at any point, you know, there might be a case, there could be a case, and then maybe they would have to follow the guidelines and students would have to stay home for a short period of time. But I was just very frustrated because there was no plan in place or about how to do this. And now, if the goal was to, at some point, every student be in the school at the same time, whether that's in 5 months from now, why couldn't that plan be created or communicated that there is this plan and make that happen? Because at some point it needs to happen. So I was very frustrated it was only virtual only. I believe there's, like you said, 54% of the parents, and maybe more, maybe some parents didn't fill it out, and that want their kid back. And even if that's half of the parents that are in favor of going back, then great. Then we have more space, we have the space to accommodate both and flip those classrooms, with all the smart technology. Let students learn at home if that's where parents choose to have their child, or let the student be in a classroom if that's what the parent chooses for the child.
Yeah. Have you been in touch with other parents? What seems to be their thoughts? Are they in favor as well, like going back for the most?
It's a very sensitive topic for good reason, for many good reasons. And I I see both sides. I do. I try to be respectful. I try to teach my children to be respectful when they ask, why can't I play with so and so? Or, and I try to teach them that, there's no right or wrong here. Everybody has their different opinions, but it's definitely, it's a challenge.
Yeah. Yeah. And Nadine, anything else you'd like to share? Thank you for your opinion. You gave me some valid, some really good points. It's really
I do. I
interesting.
think.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. The only last thing is, I just hope one thing to share is that, once school does resume, I hope there's a plan in place of how to sustain that, because it would be awful if, we were to start and then shut down. So I think the key is really, like, yes, open, but then how do we sustain that, and what measures need to be taken? And hopefully, everybody, whether they're sure this is the right decision or not, can help promote these safe choices.
Got it. Got it. Yeah, you gave me some good points, some very, very good points to consider. Because on the surface, I look at it as, what I've been hearing, after covering these stories, in all these different counties, I've been hearing a lot from the teachers, and I've even been like hearing from the parents, hey, let's wait till these numbers go down, But then just lately, within the past, couple days or so, I've been hearing from parents like you, and it's kind of been like the silent majority. I don't know if that's the right term, but it's like, I've been hearing it's been a struggle to juggle, teaching their kids virtual online and then having a job. What do you do in those situations? So
It
it's
was challenging. I mean, I was fortunate to have that flexibility, but I sat besides my child to make sure she was doing everything, but it was without a bribe. I had to bribe everything. Like, no, listen, or if she had to get up to go to the bathroom, I was like, oh, wait, that's kind of rude in class. Would you just get up and walk away? So I was really trying, but it makes it very difficult for the children to understand this mode of learning. And if someone doesn't have that parent or support at home, what happens to those kids? I can't figure it out. The younger age group, it's just not going to work for most, for certain families.
Nadine, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. Okay.
I do. Thank you so much.
Best of luck to you. Be safe.
Thank you, you too.